Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about the Sirui 135 t2.9 anamorphic lens with a squeeze ratio of 1.8. Is this the lightest and best performing anamorphic lens in the world? I have been using this lens since it was released on the market. However, I needed to get acquainted to it before doing a review. This is not going to be a technical review, so those of you who are hoping for lens charts and optical performance comparisons, I'm gonna have to make you a bit disappointed. I am going to show you my thoughts of using the lens from a user perspective, and I'm going to show you a bit of the benefits using exactly this lens. I'm going to talk about the characteristics of the lens, and I'm also going to mention a few of the drawbacks or maybe things that you actually should have in mind when using this anamorphic lens. The lens is a manual focus lens with a really sturdy metal build. It has a smooth focus ring with just about enough resistance, and the aperture ring has a fluid feel and no steps, which makes it easier to change the aperture while filming. The lens has a 0.9 meter close focusing distance, which is the equivalent of 3 feet, and it has an 82mm filter thread, which is the same filter diameter as the other anamorphic lenses in the Sirui anamorphic family. The lens has no buttons, no ports, and no other connections, so it's a manual, rigid, mechanically well-built piece of glass art. This is the E mount for Sony, but they are also manufacturing this lens with the RF mount, the L mount, and the Z mount for Nikon. If you compare this lens to the other lenses in the anamorphic series from Sirui, you will find that the gears are placed at the same distance, which makes it much easier to swap lenses on your rig. It comes in on a weight at approximately 1,294, a bit depending on what mount you have, and that makes it really light for an anamorphic lens. It is a bit front heavy, and that can make it a bit hard to balance on lighter gimbals. The squeeze ratio on this lens is 1.8, and I understand that Sirui has done this to make the lens get a more pronounced anamorphic look. You would have to be a bit more creative if you're supposed to use this footage with other anamorphic lenses with different squeeze ratios. The blue streak is quite prominent when filming a specular highlight, but I believe that the fade over is well handled and not too contrasty. The lens is super sharp, and when filming cinematic imagery, the sharpness will be more than enough and you won't find that limiting in any way. When using this lens, I recommend you to use an external monitor, because if you're supposed to nail that manual focus on a shallow depth of field as shallow as t2.9 on a 135mm lens, it can be a bit hard on a small screen. Overall, this is an epic piece of glass which is competitively priced and an exceptional optical quality. You should have in mind that this lens is not for everybody, but more aimed towards those who are really serious in their filmmaking and want that really cinematic quality. I would love to hear your thoughts about this lens if you have used it. Please drop a comment below, let me know how it works for you, or if you have any tips and tricks that users can read to get even more cinematic quality out of this lens. It would make my heart warm if you'd slap that like button, hit that notification bell, drop a comment below, or maybe even consider subscribing. See you in the next one. Stay safe.